Often you must have seen the news of airplane hijacking in the news, in which hijackers make some demands like money to leave the airplane and terrorists who are their only companions. But today we will talk about Norway's strangest hijacked. It was the first plane hijacking to take place in Norway. There were no deaths and no injuries. Braathens safe flight 139 was an aircraft hijacking that occurred in Norway on the 21st of June 1985. The incident took place on a Boeing 737-205 belonging to Braathens safe that was on a scheduled flight from Trondheim Airport, Braathens to Oslo Airport, Fornebu. The hijacker was Stein Arvid Husby. The authorities identified the hijacker only as a 24-year-old former convict who had been drinking when he boarded the Braathens airliner. Beaten and abused by his father, Husby had lost his job as a seaman due to being drunk and, at the age of 19, spent time in a psychiatric institution. 2 years before the hijacking, he was admitted to the Christian school and managed to stay sober for 2 years, but had started drinking again leading up to the hijacking. He had previously been sentenced to jail for various offenses, including the violent robbery of a taxi driver and threatening someone with a shotgun the day before the hijacking. Husby graduated from upper secondary school, where he studied health and social work. The very same day, he went out and purchased an air pistol that he would later carry onto the plane in his hand luggage when boarding the aircraft at Trondheim Airport, Braathens. There was no security at the airport because it was a short 55-minute domestic flight. There were no security checks at Trondheim Airport, TRD, allowing Husby to take the air pistol onto the plane. Selecting a seat in the back of the aircraft. While airborne, the hijacker showed a female flight attendant the air gun, and asked her to inform the captain that he wanted control over the aircraft, but that otherwise all was to proceed as planned. The flight attendant and later the hijacker used the intercom to communicate with the pilot. The police were informed about the incident via air controllers at 15:05. The plane landed at Fornebu at 15:30. 15 minutes after schedule. The aeroplane parked at a location 700 meters from the terminal. It was immediately surrounded by police and special forces. The 2 special trained police officers were placed in the control tower, where they negotiated with Husby. Fornebu was closed, and air traffic was rerouted to Oslo Airport, Gardermoen. The passengers were not informed about the incident until the aeroplane was surrounded by the police. The hijacker Husby informed the passengers and crew that he had placed explosives in the toilet rooms, but that no one would be hurt if they cooperated. Husby was dressed in a suit with sunglasses. The passengers on board described his actions as calm during the whole incident. Husby repeatedly asked for and drank beer. Husby's demanded were to talk to Norway's Prime Minister Henry Williken, Minister of Justice Mona Sidilek, both from the Conservative Party. He also wanted to hold a press conference at Fornebu. Husby was unsatisfied with his treatment after he left prison. He demanded to receive guarantees for a better treatment and economic security from the authorities. Assisted by a psychologist, the police negotiated with Husby. After 1 hour the plane landed. 70 passengers were let out of the aeroplane. The first group were those passengers who had transfers to other flights in exchange. The aircraft was moved closer to the terminal building. The passengers were picked up by a bus and transported to the domestic terminal, where they were questioned by the special force officer. The remaining passengers were let out 30 minutes later. A friend of Arvid Husby helped the special force in the negotiations at 18:30. The aircraft was out of beer, so Husby made an agreement that he would throw the gun out of the window in exchange for more beer. This was delivered by a civilian police officer. The aircraft was then immediately stormed by special forces and Husby was arrested by special force. Literally no one was injured in that hijacking. In the end Husby was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment and 5 years detention.